Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy, the Mad Tiger. I'm up here today with the final part of the top TV and movie series that I've been doing, talking about some of my most nostalgic movies and TV shows that I watched growing up. Some of my favourites. These are ones that I've just seen multiple times, and like I said, I put down as my favourite. Today we are on movies. I've got quite a few to go through, so I'm going to keep this intro short to try and keep it in the one video without editing it. But yeah, movies. So let's just get straight into it. Up first we have Star Wars. I've already done a video on all my favourite Star Wars movies in order. I just had to put Star Wars on here because it's pretty obvious. I'm a massive Star Wars fan and I like all the Star Wars movies, so anything Star Wars related has always been a favourite movie of mine. I already talked about which ones are in order. If you want to check out that video, feel free to check it out. And then up next we have Holden Kumar, Get the Munchies. I've seen this movie well over 40 times, and that's not even an exaggeration. I remember I seen it years ago on TV. It was on like E4 or like 4 Movies or something like that. And I watched it and I really enjoyed it, and for so long it was never on TV again. I completely forgot what it was called, and then it came back on TV. And I just fell in love with the movie. It's a kind of a stupid stoner-esque movie, but I really like it. It's one of my go-to movies. If I'm ever feeling down, I'll just put on Holden Kumar and it always puts me in a good mood. I kind of enjoyed the sequels, but the original for me is always better than the rest. I have cheated on a few of these. Up next we have Austin Powers. I really loved the Austin Powers movies growing up. I used to watch them all the time, still do today. I still think the second one, in my opinion, is the best one, The Spy Who Shagged Me. It's such a funny movie. You know, Austin Powers was kind of like a piss take, a spoof of James Bond kind of thing, but it basically became its own thing. You know, people really liked Austin Powers for what it was. You know, just a funny Michael Myers comedy, or Mike Myers, sorry, and it's just such a funny movie, and I really enjoy the Austin Powers movies. For me, it goes to second, first and third one. That's my favourite order. Second one's always been my favourite. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of Fat Bastard. They're just dumb movies, but they're really funny and I absolutely love them. Up next, we have Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I didn't much care for the sequel. For so long, I avoided watching the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because I just didn't want it to be ruined. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was such an amazing movie growing up. You know, it took everything, you know, this whole wacky, zany, whimsical character and this amazing, like, chocolate factory. You know, of course, chocolate factories don't actually look like that, but as a kid, you know, it gave you this sense of wonder about it. You know, candy as a kid, you know, chocolate and stuff. But Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory has always been one of my top family movies. But as an adult, I watch it and I just realise how clever and how dark the movie is at times. You know, there's some pretty dark stuff in the movie. And obviously, I might do a video just talking about the 2 Willy Wonka movies. I might have already done a video on it before in the past. But Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the one with Gene Wilder, of course, not the Tim Burton one, is absolutely one of my all-time favourite movies. Such a great movie, and it's just put together so well. Next, we're getting to some Disney stuff. We have Mulan. I absolutely loved Mulan growing up, mostly because I was a big fan of Dynasty Warriors, and I was a big fan of, you know, China, obviously ancient China. But Mulan, to me, has always been such an underrated Disney movie. Of course, we know you've got the live action movie coming out now, but I loved Mulan growing up because it was like the first time Disney sort of went away from this whole princess, you know, obviously the woman being a princess kind of thing. It's more about a woman not wanting to be, you know, a dolled up princess, wanting to go into war and, you know, take her dad's place. And it's a very impressionable movie and a very very well thought out movie, and of course got one of my all-time favorite Disney songs, "I'll Make a Man Out of You." It's just such a well put together movie. I absolutely love Mulan, and I am looking forward to the live action movie, but I just don't think it's going to be as good in terms of the classic will be. Next we have Aristocats. Even though I'm more of a dog person, I absolutely loved Aristocats growing up. You know, the Disney movie, of course. It is such a great movie. You know, it's kind of a simple concept. It's about these three cats, kittens who got separated from their mother. About this woman who has, you know, these three cats, and basically she left all of her money to the will, and then this, you know, the butler basically throws the kittens away, and they've got to make their way back home. It's a really, it's just a great Disney movie. You know, it has a dark theme to it at the first, but you know, it's just a simple concept. Cats trying to make their way home. Of course, it's got some memorable characters in there. You know, the drunken goose and the Berlouise and Marie. I always find that why is it Disney sell Marie stuff, you know, but they don't sell any other like Aristocat character stuff. You know, it's always Marie. You know, she's the snooty one, but I really loved Aristocats. I don't know what it is about it. It's just such a fun movie, you know. Next we have my third favourite Disney movie, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. The Hunchback of Notre Dame has such a great message to it. The whole message of, you know, don't be ashamed of what you look like kind of thing. You know, everyone, you know, he's not a monster. He's a nice guy, you know. It's obviously The Hunchback of Notre Dame has been this classic horror thing, and obviously Disney put their spin on it, but it has a great message. But for me, what I love about The Hunchback of Notre Dame is the symbolism that it has. There are so many, the ending with the lava and the hell, you know, the symbolism, you know, the final scene with the lava and the hell. Obviously, it's a very religious movie based in the you know, that religious time in you know, France, obviously, and it's such a well-respected movie. My favourite scene is the scene where, you know, Frollo is singing about obviously wanting Esmeralda, and obviously you see the shadows coming up in the fireplace. It's such powerful imagery from a Disney movie, and Disney had a lot of this. Growing, you know, in the early like 40s and 50s, there was some great symbolism in their movies, and I feel like Hunchback of Notre Dame was one of the last movies to really use those shadows and the symbolism. So yeah. Up next we have another two classic movies that I had growing up, the Tom and Jerry movie and the Magic Ring. Now there are loads of Tom and Jerry movies nowadays, but the original Tom and Jerry movie, I absolutely loved that growing up, and I'm so annoyed that you can't find it anywhere now. It's not on any like streaming services. For streaming you can buy it, but what I loved about the Tom and Jerry movie, even though it's kind of a musical, it's got a lot of music in there. It's kind of basically it's about Tom and Jerry. Basically, their owner moves out and they get left behind, and their house gets destroyed. But what amazed me the most about the Tom and Jerry movie is they talk. Yeah, Tom and Jerry talk. I'll never forget that when that first time I heard them talk. He goes, "Wait a minute, you can talk," and then Jerry's like, "Oh, yeah, well, I just never had anything good to say to you. That's all." And I just remember that growing up. You know, just, you know, being complete. Like I said, in some of the early Tom and Jerry cartoons, there was a little bit of talking in it, mostly when Tom's singing. You know, like when he's playing the piano for the lady, and you know, playing the violin, saying "You ain't my baby, baby" song. But it was so cool to just see them do a whole movie with them talking, and it's just such a classic movie. It has a part in it where they meet up with an orphan and stuff like that, and it has some very touching moments. Next we have the Magic Ring. This was one of their sort of long episodes movies. There's so many Tom and Jerry movies. I want to watch the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory Tom and Jerry movie. I don't know if I have it though. But the Magic Ring was such a... I absolutely loved it as a kid. You know, I had it on VHS, and it was a simple concept. Basically, Tom has to look after this magic ring for this wizard that he lives with in this particular scenario, and basically it gets stuck to Jerry's head, and obviously Tom's trying to get it back. But it just embodied what was great about, Tom and Jerry. It was basically like a long episode, an hour-long episode, but it was I really enjoyed it. And of course there were some other characters in there, like Snoopy was in there, but I absolutely loved Tom and Jerry in Magic Ring as well. Up next we have the Cannonball Run movies. I absolutely love Cannonball Run. I'm going to be honest with you, I never saw the first one as a kid. I only seen the second one because I had the second one on VHS. As a kid, I was a massive fan of cars. I loved toy cars. I loved watching racing videos. You remember my VHS collection that I had. I loved racing games. But Cannonball Run was such a great movie. It was basically original. It was basically Fast and Furious before Fast and Furious. It has such an amazing cast of characters. You've got the Rat Pack in there. You've got Frank Sinatra's in one of them. You've got Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise, young Jackie Chan in there. I could name all the characters in there, but I'm going to save it for a Cannonball Run video. But I really like the first one as well. These are just so fun movies. The second one has always been my favourite out of the series. It's basically about they have to drive from one end of the thing to another. And it's like a competition. Remember like the Gumball Rally that used to happen in America? It's basically like their version of that. But obviously there's a lot of things happening in there. The second one sort of gets involved with like mobs and stuff. There's fight scenes. There's beautiful women in there. There's beautiful cars. It's just such an amazing movie. It's basically like the 80s version of Fast and Furious. And I love it. I absolutely love it. There was a third movie called Cannibal Fever. I believe it was called Speed Zone in the rest of the world. I think US had it as Speed Zone. But it was called Cannibal Fever. I remember it. It was on Movies for Men years ago or something like that. And it was still part of the Cannonball Run series because it was still part of the Cannonball Run. But it had John Candy in it. And I actually loved that movie. And I'm so annoyed that you can't find it anywhere. I've looked everywhere for it, and I can't find it anywhere. So if anyone knows where you can find a copy of Speed Zone or Cannibal Fever, or if you can find it anywhere online, send me the link because I really want to watch that movie again. Up next we have the two Terminator movies that I grew up with, Terminator 2 and Terminator 3. I know I'm forgetting the first one. I do love all three Terminator movies. Absolutely love 1, 2 and 3. But I think Terminator 3 was like the one that I'd seen the most. It was the first Terminator movie I ever watched as a kid. Mostly because as a kid I wasn't really allowed to watch the first one and the second one because it was too adult for me at the time. But Terminator 3 I think gets a lot of hate. I really enjoyed Terminator 3. But Terminator 2 is one of, if not the best sequel to any movie ever. The first Terminator movie is kind of like a horror thriller movie. A woman trying to run away from, an evil cyborg. But the second one is what made, in my opinion, Terminator 2. It was such a great movie. It had the whole, him trying to make Terminator into a human, more human-like, the whole love relationship going on there. It was just an amazing concept. The action was amazing. That classic scene on the bike with the freaking truck chasing after him. The whole classic when he walks, he goes into Sarah Connor into the mental institution, and she just comes around the corner and you just see Arnold Schwarzenegger slowly walking towards her with the shotgun. Terminator 2 is, if not the best sequel to any movie. I absolutely love Terminator 2. It is such a great movie, and I could watch it over and over again and never get bored of it. It is just one of the best examples of a movie well done. And of course, one of the most upsetting scenes, the ending with the thumbs up. That always gets me, man. I love Terminator 2, but I don't much care for the new Terminator stuff. But 2 and 3, and of course 1, the trilogy have always been such a great series. From an amazing movie to not so amazing movie, but I love it, Borat. I know it's not the full title. I could sit here like Borat for the glorious nation of Kazakhstan. Cultural learnings. I can't remember the full title, but I love Borat. You know, I remember when I first seen it as a kid. It is such a stupidly funny movie. Mish, my name is Borat. Very nice, very nice. It's just basically about this guy who has to go to America to learn things. It's an offensive movie. I ain't going to talk too much about the offensive stuff in it. Just watch it. But you know, I like to think it's part of the Sacha Baron Cohen trilogy. You know, Ali G, then Borat, then obviously Bruno. I like all three of those movies. I think they're hilarious. The Dictator was hilarious too. I'd really like to see another Borat movie, but Borat was just such a funny movie. I can watch that over and over again. As is the same with Little Man. I love the Wayans brothers, and Little Man was a movie I watched growing up, and I still love it to this day. It's a stupid movie. It's basically about obviously the Wayans brothers are hilarious, and it's basically about basically he's a little person and he has to pretend to be a kid, a baby, to try and get his diamond back. It's a stupidly fun, family-esque movie. I say family-esque because it has some mature themes in there, but it is a stupid movie, and I remember watching a lot of it growing up. As is the same with White Chicks. I love White Chicks. White Chicks, again, is another stupid movie that I love. Of course, the classic Terry Crews in there, you know, making my way downtown, walking fast. White Chicks is, again, a stupid movie, but I love it. Kind of a guilty pleasure movie. Next, we have the Bruce Almighty and Evan Almighty movies. I've seen both of these movies countless times. I think I prefer Bruce Almighty to Evan Almighty, but I do like them both. The whole concept of Bruce Almighty is basically Jim Carrey is basically God. Basically, he's given the powers of God, and he has to try and, you know, figure out how to be God. I think obviously it's kind of a religious movie, but it's done in a way that's entertaining without it being too religious. But it does have some powerful messages in there. Of course, Jennifer Aniston in there, and of course Morgan Freeman. And the same with Evan Almighty. Evan Almighty is a similar thing, but it's about him becoming Noah from Noah's Ark. And I do like both of those movies. Bruce Almighty, in my opinion, has one of the funniest scenes that in any movie I've ever watched, when he's doing the typewriting thing with Steve Carell, of course, on the news team, and he's like, every time I see that scene, I just burst out laughing. I know, I've got a stupid sense of humour. Then we get into some Pixar stuff. Of course, I've got to mention Toy Story 1 and 2. I like Toy Story 1 and 2. I haven't seen the fourth one yet. The third one, I just sort of take it or leave it. But I loved Toy Story 1 and 2 growing up. I still think Toy Story 2 is superior to the first one. But the first one, of course, is where it all began. It was one of the first ever full-length Pixar movies. Simple concept. What happens if toys are alive? Pixar took things beyond what Disney were doing. And basically, I know it's still part of Disney, but they took imagination even further, and it has beautiful animation. The 3D animation, of course, which is Disney's known for nowadays, but it was such a great movie. I still prefer Toy Story 2 because I really like the whole concept of them being in this apartment trying to escape from this guy. The supermarket scene was my all-time favourite scene in any of the movies, but I love Toy Story 1 and 2. Like I said, the third one I can take or leave, and I haven't seen the fourth one yet. Then we have Cars. I love the movie Cars. As a kid, like I said, growing up, I loved toy cars. Like I said before about that game, Road Trip. Cars to me was kind of like Road Trip the movie almost, you know, talking cars. I I really like the first Cars movie. I'm going to be honest with you. The second Cars movie can fuck off. I hate it. I don't hate it, but it's just they ruined it. The third movie kind of brought it back to its roots, but not in an amazing way. But the first movie is such a great movie. You know, it's a simple concept. Lightning McQueen being this fast car, you know, cocky and stuff, getting locked away in this small, you know, out of their town, and basically has the whole fifth, I can't remember the word, but he basically has an epiphany and changes who he is and stuff. It's a feel-good movie, but I love the original Cars movie. Like I said, the second and third one I can take or leave, but the first one has always been a classic favourite of mine. And the final Pixar movie is Monsters Inc. I haven't seen University yet, but I loved Monsters Inc. growing up. Again, I love like monsters and things, but what I think Monsters Inc. was so well done about Monsters Inc. It's basically obviously about these monsters in this world who have to scare children, you know, in the closets and stuff. And I think it does that in a way that kids can watch Monsters Inc. And you know when kids struggle with the whole, oh, there's a monster in my closet thing. I think if you show a kid Monsters Inc., they sort of look at monsters in a different way. There are friendly monster movies out there for kids, but Monsters Inc. had a feel-good story to it, obviously, with Sully, you know, trying to look after Boo and stuff. Obviously, in that concept, the humans are bad toward the monsters, not the other way around. But I love Monsters Inc. It's a funny movie. Mike Wazowski is one of my all-time favourite characters in Pixar. He's so funny. You know, the whole the magazine thing. Oh my god, I'm on a magazine. And then yeah, there we go. Up next we have Spaceballs. As much as I love Star Wars, Spaceballs in my opinion is probably one of my all-time favourite spoof movies. I've seen a lot of spoof movies like the scary movies and all that. I didn't include them on here. Even though I've seen them a load of times, I wouldn't say they're my favourite. They're just stupid movies. But Spaceballs is so well done. It is a Star Wars piss take, but it's so well done. You know, Mel Brooks was a genius for doing Spaceballs. I don't want to talk a lot about Spaceballs because you need to watch Spaceballs because it's so well done. Obviously, it is a Star Wars piss take, but it's done in such a really intelligent way. The whole scene with the, oh, sir, what can we do? Oh, I know. Let's put Spaceballs the movie on VHS. Wait. How can we be seeing this if we're doing this? If we're still doing the damn movie? It breaks the fourth wall. It's a spoof movie that knows it's a spoof movie, and that's what makes it so good. It doesn't over try too many things, and it's so funny. Have to watch Spaceballs again sometime. Speaking of space, I had to include Space Jam. I love Space Jam. I know there is a second one coming out, and I'm hype. But Space Jam is, you know, it combined Looney Tunes with basketball. And it was one of the first movies I had ever watched growing up of mixing characters from a cartoon with real life characters. And of course, it made me respect basketball as well. I really enjoyed it. It's such a great movie. Space Jam is such a great movie. Has a great soundtrack in there. Of course, I Believe I Can Fly was done for that movie. Such a great movie. I love Space Jam. One of the few sport movies that I love. And yeah. And next we have Small Soldiers. Small Soldiers was again kind of like Toy Story, this whole concept of toys are alive thing, but Small Soldiers is another great family movie. It's basically about these action figures that have military grade chips in them and basically turn evil. What I loved about it is, again, it was the army men who were meant to be the good guys for the toys, but actually were the bad guys in the movie. So it again is a great family movie. I love Small Soldiers. Major Chip Hazard is one of my all-time favourite characters in that movie. just so it has a lot of humour to it, but it's so well done. I have to rewatch it. Just a few extras that I didn't put down on my list that I just thought of off the top of my head. Happy Gilmore. I love Happy Gilmore. Again, because I was talking about sport movies. Happy Gilmore is another one of my all-time favourites. I've seen that movie countless times. Adam Sandler really makes me laugh in that movie. I know a lot of people hate on Adam Sandler, but I think he was so well done in Happy Gilmore. And stuff like that. I love Happy Gilmore. I'm trying to think of a few other ones that I've watched. You know what? I'm going to leave it there actually because I don't want it to go on for too long. There might be another part to this one. Maybe I'll think of some more. You know, movies go on for ages with me. You know, I've seen countless movies loads of times. But these are just what I wanted to do with these videos, is talk about ones that I have a lot of nostalgia for, grew up with, seen multiple times. And I hope you guys enjoyed these videos. I'm sorry there's not been a lot of visual assets. I can't exactly show off movie pictures and things like that in them, but and it would take me ages to find all my DVDs of them. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Feel free to leave a like, and if you did, comment below and let me know some of your favourite movies. I apologise with my streams as of late. They're not uploading to YouTube properly. I am trying to export them, but they're not coming through properly, so I need to have a look and see what's happening with that. Because there are a few extra streams that I have done that I am still posting to the channel, so you guys get some gameplay footage as well as the traditional stuff here. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already and join the family. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Twitch at The Mad Kyger. I will be streaming tonight at British Standard Time of 7 PM and I will be doing some Overwatch and possibly some more Saints Row too. And as always guys, have a nice day and I will see you in the next video. Take care and bye bye.